That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I want to remind everyone, these questions came from Twitter. These questions came from Instagram. I am sorry I'm not going to be able to live stream as much this week as I previously have done. Y'all know pretty much this entire season I have live streamed every single day. Well, now I have finals. Now I have to travel across the country to see my family for the holidays. So I'm sorry we're not going to live stream as much, but I still want to try to answer your questions. So make sure you send them to me on Instagram and Twitter. I'll leave that in the description of the video as well as the comment section. All right, well, let's get into it and let's talk about 5 running back sit-start decisions that I was asked. This first one comes from Instagram, and this is Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift. Okay, here, guys. Y'all know both of these running backs I love. Both of these running backs have good matchups this week. I mean, I was in love with DeAndre Swift coming into the NFL draft. I've said it so many times now. He was my running back 1 before the draft took place. And on top of that, we know with DeAndre Swift, what we love about him is his receiving game usage. I mean, he has been one of the best receiving rookie running backs that we have quite possibly ever seen whenever he has been able to stay healthy. On top of that, he's been getting the goal line usage for the Detroit Lions. And this is a very nice matchup against the Tennessee Titans, who have had one of the worst defenses in the past 2 months. Now, on the other hand here, we have Jonathan Taylor, an elite level athlete, someone that had 3 straight 2,000-yard seasons out of Wisconsin, someone that also has a very nice matchup against the Houston Texans. So this is horrible. This is making me choose between 2 guys that need to be in every single starting lineup. I have no idea what your lineup looks like if you are having to make this type of decision, but I would love to try to reevaluate who you have in your flex, who you have in your running back 2 spot, to see if we could get both of these guys in. But at the end of the day, whenever we have a very close call like this, what we have to do is go with the player that projects to see a larger workload, go with the player that's going to have more volume, and that will be Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is coming off of back-to-back performances where he has just been a workhorse running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Not only is he commanding almost every single carry in this offense, but on top of it, somehow he has a receiving role as well, even with Nyheim Hines still managing to get his own targets out of the backfield. So Jonathan Taylor honestly looks bust-proof. The Houston Texans defense has been one of the worst run defenses all season. And this is going to be even better if we do not have Brandon Cooks in this game, because clearly I think it's going to be almost impossible for the Houston Texans offense to be able to effectively move the ball down the field with no Will Fuller, with no Brandon Cooks, with no DeAndre Hopkins against a very good Indianapolis Colts defense. So the Colts should be leading this game the majority of the time. And when that is happening, Jonathan Taylor will be on the field. Jonathan Taylor will be getting this significant amount of work. All right, so now our next question is not nearly as intriguing as the first one. This one is going to be Ezekiel Elliott versus Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, now y'all know I actually don't want to start either one of these running backs this week. I mean, with Zeke, he has a tough matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. On top of that, he's looked like one of the worst running backs in the entire NFL in terms of his efficiency per touch, even when Dak Prescott was still in the game for this Dallas Cowboys offense. I don't care if you want to blame that on Zeke himself, the offensive line, the overall offensive struggles. I think it's most likely a combination of all 3 things, but the result is a significant drop in fantasy production from Ezekiel Elliott. Now, on the flip side, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, really just not seeing the efficiency on the ground that we thought that he would have in this offense, being selected in the first round coming out of LSU. But we know that he got the receiving game usage this past week, having 5 receptions. And this week, going up against the New Orleans Saints, it is going to be a tough matchup. But we know one thing, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs should be able to put up points on the board regardless. We cannot say the same thing about Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys based on the struggles that Cowboys offense has had so far this season. So honestly, this is going to be a tough question, but I think we go with the committee running back that's going to be playing on the better offense, scoring more points, because they're both committee running backs at this point. So we're going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And yeah, I mean, guys, with Ezekiel Elliott, he's splitting that workload like 50-50 with Tony Pollard right now. So there's no way we could ever consider starting Zeke. All right, so now our next question is going to be between 2 running backs that I would love to start. Miles Sanders or David Montgomery. Okay, let's address Miles Sanders first. Y'all know that he was a running back I was significantly higher on than consensus coming into the season, and it looks like it did not work out. I mean, clearly a bust player, but that was based on the overall offensive struggles. He had seen the majority of the workload whenever the game was in neutral game environments. I mean, Miles Sanders has proven to be a bell cow running back, very athletic, but the offense has just been horrendous. Now, on the other hand, with David Montgomery, I mean, I just don't like the running back. I know that he's looked so good over the past month. That's why I told y'all to go buy him low 5 weeks ago when everyone wanted to leave him for dead. And it's because he's had some of the easiest run defenses in the entire NFL to go through. I mean, he's going up against the Green Bay Packers, the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions. I mean, just horrendous run defenses. Now, this upcoming week, though, we have Miles Sanders against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this is just one of the most intriguing spots in the entire week, in my opinion, just because we don't know what we can expect from Jalen Hurts now that some NFL defenses have some film on him in a real-life NFL game. Are they going to be able to try to game plan around him, or is he going to be like a Lamar Jackson where it says, hey, this is the new NFL? I mean, Jalen Hurts looks like that new type of athlete. When you have Jalen Hurts on the field, it's like the offense has 12 players because you have to not only worry about the quarterback, but you also have to worry about 2 running backs now in the backfield. So I think if the production maintains at this high level for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, we could see Miles Sanders being a much better play than David Montgomery. But based on the uncertainty around it, we have to go with a running back that we know is going to have the guaranteed volume. We have to go with the guy that's also been getting the receptions out of the backfield. We have to go with David Montgomery. It sucks. I mean, this was the topic of debate in the 2019 NFL draft class for everybody taking that first running back off the board the second running back off the board beyond Josh Jacobs. We had a ton of people arguing David Montgomery. We had a ton of people arguing Miles Sanders. I was on the Miles Sanders boat. I never would have thought that I'd be telling you to start David Montgomery over Miles Sanders, given the talent profile of the 2 running backs. But personally, I think that we are going to be viewing David Montgomery as a safer play this week. All right, so now our next question that we got, I think this one actually came from Twitter, and this is going to be between Aaron Jones and Austin Ekeler. Okay, so now we have to make this decision ASAP. I mean, Austin Ekeler is playing tonight against the Las Vegas Raiders. Honestly, I'm going to keep this simple for us. We are going to go with Austin Ekeler. And now, if we evaluate both of these running backs, they are very similar in their builds where they're not necessarily workhorse type running backs, but they are guys that are getting all of the valuable touches in their offense. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about when we look at running backs like DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. And now I think that we are having Austin Ekeler fall into that same range where, yes, they're not going to have 25 carries, but they are going to have the targets out of the backfield and they are going to have the usage at the goal line. But here, I think the matchup is going to be so good with an Austin Ekeler against the Las Vegas Raiders, where it's going to be hard to pass up after just seeing Jonathan Taylor completely demolish this team. And also, Austin Ekeler has had a much higher target share in his offense compared to Aaron Jones. For whatever reason, since the injury, I don't know if they're just saving him for the playoffs and not wanting to overuse him, but they have been reluctant to give Aaron Jones that same type of volume that he had beforehand, where beforehand he was seeing about 6 targets a game. This could also be due to the fact that we had Devontae Adams missing a significant portion of the early season for this Green Bay Packers offense. So for whatever reason, at this point, I think we just have to be lowering Aaron Jones down our rankings. We have to be playing Austin Ekeler as a running back that has that guaranteed floor in targets, as well as a very nice matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so now our last question is going to come down to Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt. Okay, so this is honestly pretty gross, but as of this morning that I'm recording this, Ronald Jones has actually been placed on the COVID list. And now I think we are just going to have to completely reevaluate this situation, as I would be surprised if Ronald Jones was going to go this game, given the fact that not only is he on the COVID list, so he has to jump over that hurdle, but he also had surgery on his pinky. So here, I think that we are going to be having Leonard Fournette as the starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And honestly, this is going to be a very nice matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. But on the other hand, with Kareem Hunt, we have seen time and time again that Kareem Hunt does get usage at the goal line for this Cleveland Browns offense. And that has been why I have been trying to explain to y'all that yes, Nick Chubb is one of the most talented running backs in the entire NFL. He is a top 5 running back in terms of his talent profile, but he's about our running back 8 or running back 7 in our rest of season rankings due to the fact that Kareem Hunt has such a large role on this offense. I mean, how many times are you going to see the Cleveland Browns put up 40 points and Nick Chubb not be a top 3 running back? I mean, it's just something that we have to live with, something that we have to understand. Here, I'll say, I think that we actually end up going with Kareem Hunt. With Leonard Fournette, the problem is we just don't necessarily see him getting every single touch in this backfield, as they did decide to make him a healthy scratch this past week. They decided to play LaShawn McCoy and Keyshawn Vaughn over him. So now I think while Leonard Fournette, it makes the most sense to step into that Ronald Jones role, I think that we have Keyshawn Vaughn and LaShawn McCoy all splitting this backfield together. So I'm going to be a lot more cautious than I was earlier this week in starting the Tampa Bay starting running back. All right, well, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I hope I will see y'all in the live stream. I believe I'll be live streaming on Saturday night and Sunday morning. If not, I hope I'll be getting your DMs on Instagram and Twitter.